Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so let's say your favorite team just made it to the World Series, and let's say the series goes to Game 7. So let's say that it's the bottom of the ninth inning, the bases are loaded, and there's 2 outs, and your favorite team ends up losing on a blown call at home plate. Now all you can do is complain about the call and just worry about making it to next year. But as a Cleveland fan, as I'm sure most of you are, you can't take championship opportunities for granted. I'm Billy Go, and I'm going to convince you why video replay is necessary in baseball, because one play can change the game. It takes pressure off the umpires. The theory of less ejections is false, and fairness is more important than flow. So getting to my first point, from personal experience, I've been playing baseball since I was roughly 5 years old, and I've come to know that baseball is a very, more of like a momentum sport. So when a call is controversial and it goes one way or the other, it seems like the momentum, if the call goes your way, the momentum will swing in your favor greatly. And according to the New Haven Register, an example of this was the 1985 World Series. And this was between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Kansas City Royals. Just to give you a little background on the series was, the St. Louis Cardinals were winning the series 3-2, and it was Game 6, and it was the bottom of the ninth inning. The Cardinals were in the field, and they were up 1-0. Well, the first hitter for the Kansas City Royals ends up grounding out and was clearly out by a step, but the first base umpire, Don Deginger, which this is a picture of Don Deginger, ends up calling him safe. Well, the Kansas City Royals end up rallying that inning, and they end up scoring 2 runs, forcing a Game 7. They end up blowing out the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 7 and go on to win the World Series. My second point I'm going to talk about is how fairness is more important than flow. According to the U.S. Today, an article written by George Ortiz, as we know that the game of baseball is very slow and it's very long, and many people are worried that if you implement video replay into the game, it's only going to make the game that much longer and people will quit watching. But according to U.S. Today, George Ortiz stated that after the year video replay was implemented, the games only lasted 3 minutes and 30 seconds longer. And on average, video replay only lasts 2 minutes per replay. And as we look in the future, we're always trying to make things quicker, make things better. So in the future, video replay is only going to speed up. My next point that's going to convince you is how it takes pressure off the umpires. According to ESPN, an article written by Amy Nelson, there was a game where it was the Detroit Tigers versus the Cleveland Indians, and the Detroit Tigers pitcher had a perfect game going, and it was the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 outs, so it was the last out in the game. If he gets his out, he gets the perfect game. This is the actual play, and the umpire right there is Jim Joyce, and as you can see, here's the ball right here, and you can clearly see that he's out by a step, but Jim Joyce ends up calling him safe and blowing the pitcher's perfect game. Now mind you, there's only been 23 perfect games in 140 years, so I mean this was pretty drastic. He basically took away from the pitcher making history. And he was actually interviewed a few years later, and him and his daughter received multiple hate messages on social media, like just terrible things, like wishing his death and stuff. And he was actually quoted saying that this was almost as worse as his father's death. So you can only imagine how much this actually impacted him. And if there would have been video replay, they could have got the call right, and he wouldn't have had to worry about it. He just would have been wrong, and they would have got the call right. The last point I'm going to make is probably one of the biggest flaws that people don't want video replay for, and they're saying it's going to ruin the history of the game because we're all human. We like to see action, and everyone wants to see a bad call happen and see the coach run out there, throw his hat off, kick dirt, and they're saying if there's video replay, how can a coach get mad about a bad call? But according to U.S. Today, there was actually 61 ejections in 2014, which was the first year they implemented the replay, And in 2013, when there wasn't replay, there was only 50 ejections. The reason for this is video replay is generally made on whether a ball was a home run or it's foul, or generally on whether he was safe or out at each base. But one thing that video replay doesn't come into effect for is the calls on balls and strikes. So if a home plate umpire is, say, squeezing the pitcher, which means like making the zone really small, the opposing coach for that pitcher might get mad, or say he strikes out a hitter on a bad call, then obviously there's going to be tempers flaring. So, in conclusion, one of the main flaws that people don't want to see video replay for is that it's going to affect the history of the game. But in reality, from what I just told you, there's still going to be ejections, there's still going to be entertainment, and before you see a close play at home and it's going to affect whether your team is going to win or lose, just remember that it's going to go to video